Deuteronomy is a very important book in the Bible. It is the fifth and final book of the Torah. The Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible. Deuteronomy means second law. It is called this because it repeats many of the laws from the first 4 books of the Torah. Moses was the leader of the Israelites. God chose Moses to lead his people out of Egypt. After 40 years in the desert, the Israelites were finally ready to enter the Promised Land. Deuteronomy takes place as the Israelites are about to enter the Promised Land. Moses wanted to prepare the people for their new life. He gave a series of speeches to remind them of God's laws. Deuteronomy is like a recap of everything God has done. Moses reminds the people how God saved them from slavery in Egypt. He reminds them of the covenant. A covenant is a special agreement. God made a covenant with Abraham. He promised to bless Abraham's descendants. God also made a covenant with the Israelites at Mount Sinai. Moses gave 3 big speeches in Deuteronomy. He reminded the people of their history. He told them about their ancestors. He talked about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He reminded them of their experiences at Mount Sinai. Moses also explained the law again. He wanted to make sure they understood it. He wanted them to obey God. Moses reminded the Israelites about the covenant. God promised to bless them and protect them. In return, the Israelites promised to obey God's laws. Moses emphasized how important it was to keep the covenant. He said that if they disobeyed God, bad things would happen. But if they obeyed God, good things would happen. Moses knew he would not be going into the Promised Land. He was going to die soon. He appointed a new leader, Joshua. Joshua would lead the people into the land. Moses told Joshua to be strong and courageous. He said that God would be with him. One of the most important passages in Deuteronomy is called the Shema. It is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4-9. The Shema is a prayer that Jewish people say every day. It is a declaration of faith in one God. It starts with, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." The Shema is more than just words. It's a way of life. It means loving God with all your heart, soul, and strength. It means teaching God's laws to your children. It means talking about God's laws all the time. It means remembering God's laws and obeying them. Deuteronomy repeats the 10 Commandments. These are the most important laws that God gave to the Israelites. The 10 Commandments teach us how to live a good life. They teach us how to love God and love our neighbor. The 10 Commandments are in Exodus chapter 20 and Deuteronomy chapter 5. Section 4. Blessings and Curses. Moses explained that there would be consequences for their choices. If they obeyed God, they would be blessed. They would have good harvests. Their animals would be healthy. They would have peace in their land. But if they disobeyed God, they would be cursed. They would experience famine and disease. They would be defeated by their enemies. These blessings and curses were a powerful reminder. They showed the Israelites that their choices mattered. Obedience to God brought blessings. Disobedience to God brought curses. Moses wanted the Israelites to choose wisely. He wanted them to experience the blessings of God. Moses' words were a mixture of warning and encouragement. He wanted the Israelites to understand the seriousness of their commitment to God, but he also wanted them to know that God was faithful. If they returned to God, he would forgive them and bless them. Section 5. Entering the Promised Land. At the end of Deuteronomy, Moses climbed Mount Nebo. From the mountain, he could see the Promised Land. God told him he could see the land, but he could not enter it. Moses died on the mountain. He was 120 years old. Even though Moses didn't enter the Promised Land, the Israelites did. They crossed the Jordan River into the land God had promised to their ancestors. They began a new chapter in their history. They were finally home. Deuteronomy is a reminder that God keeps his promises. He promised Abraham that his descendants would inherit the land of Canaan. And after many years, that promise was fulfilled. Deuteronomy encourages us to trust in God's promises. Even when times are tough, we can have hope. God is faithful. He will do what he said he will do. If you want to learn more about Deuteronomy, open your Bible and start reading. You'll be amazed by what you discover.